Welcome to today's episode of Jacked Up Garage. In this episode, we're going to show you how to make any car feel faster. So on the sidelines, before we go into that, on the sidelines, we've been doing a little bit to this car. We put a whole new hot side on it. So it's looking a lot fresher now, and it's making just shy of 400 kilowatts. So it's feeling pretty fast, it's pretty spicy, but we are struggling with traction a little bit. So this may be a bad decision, but we'll go into it. So this one here is a 4:3 ratio diff. We're changing out the 4:1 ratio diff. It's a little bit higher ratio, so it should feel a bit more spicy. First off, let's get stuck into it. Let's get the diff out.
We're going to be removing this R200 diff, which is common in most Sylvias and Skylines. And how you get the diff out is you just remove these 4 bolts at the back, these 2 in the front, the tail shaft comes off, and then you got to also remove your drive shaft bolts and nuts. The reason why we're taking this out is because we're changing the internals. We're going from a 4:1 ratio to a 4:3, which is going to increase our acceleration, but it's going to decrease our top end. And the way that it works, pretty much when you're talking ratios, if you have the base numbers 4, and then you go 1, 2, 3, and you go upward, you're going to increase the acceleration, but then when it comes to top end, you're going to max out sooner. So it just won't go any faster, which is fine because what we're going for is acceleration, because we're hoping to get this on the drag strip or the roll racing strip. So let's get this out, get it on the bench, and then we'll show you what we're up to.
First thing we're going to do is we're just going to pop this shaft out. We're going to take this cover off, and then we're going to show you how to take the center out.
Woo! Good catch! What a catch! Out of sense, but you know, you just know it's gonna go.
What we got here is the 4:1 gear and the 4:3 gear. You can see on the 4:3 gear, there's a lot more teeth and they're closer together. Essentially means that just this is going to be spinning faster than this. So to take the center out, we have to take the center out to be able to get to our pinion here. So what we need to do is we need to undo these 2, pop this one out, but we've got to make sure that all the shims on the side and everything, the caps and everything, stay in the right place so we know where to put them when we go put it back together. So we'll undo these, pop it out, put it on the bench, make sure everything stays where it needs to be, and then we can get to all the rest of what we need to get to. My diff experience is fairly limited, so I haven't actually done one of these on an R200 before, so you're going to be coming along for the ride. So we get the idea of what we need to do, what we need to replace. So essentially what this gear is it's sitting in here. We need to undo this nut, pull the shaft off. There'll be a bearing in here and a bearing back here. So we should be able to tap this one out and that bearing should be fine. And then the back bearing will need to press off. There'll be a shim underneath there that will determine our height. And hopefully, fingers crossed, that shim will be okay and our backlash will be set fine. If that's not the case, we're gonna need to pull it back apart and get a new shim. So fingers crossed, let's get popping this off and see what we're looking at. Now that we've got this out, we need to somehow remove this and put a fresh one on our new one after we've taken the shims out of the bottom of it and chucked it in there.
I was expecting bigger movements than that.
There's not much hydraulic fluid left in the bottom of that.
And we'll get there.
Eventually.
We'll get there. It's got trampoline springs to pull it back. Pop. There's the weasel. Good job.
We got it.
We got it.
So this is the shim that we took out of the old one. So this is what determines our backlash. So we're going to reuse the one that was off on the last diff because the backlash was good on that. So when we put this on, we're going to put that on, then we're going to press our new bearing on. Once we pressed our new bearing on, we put it back into the diff housing, put everything back together, and then we've got to check whether or not we've got excessive backlash or if it's too tight, not enough backlash.
There we go.
Easy as that.
Easy as that.
Okay, we've got our bearing pressed onto our shaft now. We need to remove the bearing carrier and put in our new one. So how we're going to do that is we're going to put a long punch through the back here, tap it out this way, and then just tap in our new one that way. We're pressing the shaft down and into the front bearing, so the bearing that sits here. We're doing it this way is so we don't, when we putting it back in, we don't push that bearing out the front here. That's what's supporting the front bearing. So once we've gotten that one all the way down and seated and completed and in, we can go ahead and put our front on. You could probably just tap this one on, but we might just press it on as well, just in case. Just make sure it's all nice and seated properly, and then we can put it all back together. I think that's seated now.
No crunching.
Yeah, that's seated.
Keep spinning it just so. That's where it was. You can see on the mark. Yeah, that's all the way.
Very simple here. Just replacing the crown wheel. Undo all these bolts. Pop that down. Pop the new crown wheel on. Make sure you Loctite all the bolts, and then just do it all back up. We've got all of our right side and left side. We've just got to put it all back together with our shims, collars, everything like that, and take it for a test drive. We've torqued down our crown bolts, the housing holder bolts, and then the back bolt as well. We've also just gone and put some coloured grease inside the teeth here, just so we can get a bit of a pattern idea. Just make sure that we've got enough backlash and we've got the correct pattern, the correct wear pattern. If you do have the incorrect patterns, you're going to take it apart and get different depth shims, wherever that be, on the sides, on the back, wherever that may be. You might need to change out some shims to be able to get the correct pattern, the correct backlash. We've got it all good, so we're going to clean it up. We're going to put a little bit of oil inside to get that bearing pre-lubed, and then we can put it back in the car, fill it with oil, take it for a drive. Diff's all in now. We're going to go see how much more spicy this thing is, and fingers crossed it doesn't blow up on us.
Oh my goodness. Does that feel any different?
It's not crazy different, but yeah.
I thought you were going to change the second gear and it just kept going. Oh man. It wasn't slipping out too much. Is that you controlling it?
The second gear, it's spun a little bit, but
Yeah.
it held it.
I was just picturing a car coming out somewhere and oh no.
Do like one pull and then you count your graces and you
You're done.
survived.
You're done.
We've taken the 32 for a bit of a spin now, so it feels a lot spicier. The gears feel a lot shorter. I'm not too sure if it suits my driving style just because we're hitting limiter really quickly. We're just gonna have to drive it around more and just see if we're gonna stick with it, or maybe we go back to the 411s. So thanks for watching, guys. Like, share, and subscribe, and we'll see you in the next one.